back to another episode of Lies My Vagina Told Me. Today, my guest is the amazing Roxana Shirazi. She's an Iranian-born author, journalist, actress, and feminist provocateur powerhouse whose debut memoir, The Last Living Slut, aka Sex, Iran, and Rock and Roll, earned prize-winning international attention for its fearless candor. She is known for fusing personal risk with gonzo reporting. She has written on politics, sexuality, and identity across both Western and Middle Eastern contexts. Her latest book, The Dead Iranian Girl, is an uncompromising reckoning with belonging and an unflinching odyssey of exile, identity, and defiance. She's also an animal rights activist and a soul sister and just a badass woman. So please welcome the one and only Roxana Shirazi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for that introduction. That was very kind. Thank you so much.
You're amazing, and I want to tell you this book. Those that know me know that my attention span is getting smaller and smaller these days, and I'm famous for not finishing books, and I could not fucking put The Dead Iranian Girl down. It was a fucking masterpiece. You are such an amazing writer. You're such a descriptive writer. I couldn't put it down. It was amazing. For people who don't know, you were born in Iran and you left during the revolution and the war, and you moved at the age of 10, like by yourself with your grandmother, to the UK, where you say you endured racism, abuse, and dislocation before carving out a motherfucking voice that defied cultural taboos. That's you.
Yeah, I mean, I was always into writing things, but I think when I came here and I was without my family and friends and my support unit, it was like the first thing I got drawn to was punk, and it was punks outside our flats, you know, the council flats, which you guys call government housing projects.
Yeah.
And that was like one thing that was like, I'm interested in that. I was like 10. So because it became my new home, you know, Iran was my home and it was beautiful, and I had family and I had love and I had lots of books, great school, but I had to find a new belonging. And soon it was that rebellion of punk that I got really connected to. And I started writing.
And you started writing, and your first book, The Last Living Slut, fucking great. You know, I'm a woman of titles. I love a good title, and I have to say that does stop you in your fucking tracks. But this was sort of chronicling your time in the UK, where you were hanging out in the punk scene, the rock scene. I fucking wasn't cool enough. I tried to date rock stars. I mean, I got one guy from the Throbs, and then, like, you know, I didn't get that far with the rock stars. It's kind of incredible. How'd you even break into that world?
Well, I was really nerdy and bookish in my teens. I was a huge reader. I read and I watched films ferociously. Like, I was heavily into The Godfather, Goodfellas, all the gangster films. I was in love with Al Pacino, Marlon Brando, James Dean. But I was alone. I was in my room. I used to get good parts in plays in the theater because I was extroverted on the stage, but introverted in real life, which is what I'm like. And then I think I always was looking for another place, something to belong to, because I was an outcast. I was a bit geeky. I didn't belong anywhere. I didn't date guys. I didn't go out with guys. I didn't kiss a guy till I was 24. And I didn't have sex. Well, I had sex with girls before 24, but not with guys.
As one does.
Yeah, so I always felt a bit like an outcast, like an outsider. So I think I found my way into rock and roll accidentally. And when I did, it was like, yeah, this is where I've been looking for all my life. This is it. This is where I belong.
Wow, that's fucking amazing. I mean, I thought I was a late bloomer. I was 19. But 24, that's pretty, it's amazing because, you know, I'm very good friends with the wonderful Miss Pamela DeBar, and she was a guest on our show in season 1. And there was such a great innocence about her life in that world. You know what I mean? So it's so interesting, the title of your book, which is of course so provocative, but there was an innocence about it. It was a belonging, you know, you felt like you could reinvent yourself, be yourself probably amongst these crazy, wonderful, fucked up artists.
Yeah, I mean, it was so weird that it was like, because I was always into my acting. I went to drama school, I did theatre, and I felt happy. But and I was very into the Doors and Jim Morrison from a young age.
Wow.
Jim Morrison's still like my god.
He's my neighbor. He was my neighbor down the street. I'll have to show you his house. It's
Wow.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes, and then Leonard Cohen, I loved, and I read lots of sort of books like Jack Kerouac and Hunter S. Thompson, Henry Miller. I read mostly guy books. I don't know why. I didn't read women writers, but I liked the kind of rebellion, transgression world. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think, but then I kept it all in here. It was all this little orbit of mine with all these things, James Dean, Marlon Brando, Jim Morrison and stuff. And then suddenly, I went to university, and I was still doing things. And then one day, I think I was in my sort of late 20s, and my friend's partner was the manager of Stereophonics, the rock band. And then the drummer from Stereophonics was there partying. And I was like blown away by how he was. It was like he was me, but male. He was crazy. He was into all this stuff. And I'd never met anyone like him before. He was such a free spirit, such a big love, such a fucking rebel. And I was like, oh my God, there are people like this? Really?
Wow.
And then I had a great night with him and a few nights with him, whatever. And then I had started to read Motley Crue's book, The Dirt, and I fucking loved them. And I was like, this is mean, but men. This is
Right.
me, who I want. Like, I was in love with Nikki Sixx. I was like, how do I not know this band before? Nikki Sixx was fucking a god to me.
Yeah.
And then I'd always loved Guns N' Roses. I always loved Axl. I'd always been so attracted to Axl Rose from a young age. But Motley Crue were the point where I said, I want to be them. I want to be them. So
Wow.
I'm going to do what they do.
And here's the
And
thing, you did. You fucking did what they do in terms of writing this tell-all memoir, completely frank, no limitations, and they get celebrated for it. And you did not have that same experience. I mean, it was highly acclaimed, but you got a backlash for just being uncensored and true to yourself, correct?
yeah, I mean, I think when I was in that scene, and I still love my rock and roll family, they are my true family. It was fine. I did whatever I wanted to do. I just went with the flow. I went with my heart and spirit, and I wanted to be with that guy, and I would do it, and I would just go for it. Like I went on tour with Velvet Revolver and Guns N' Roses, and went out with Nikki Sixx. And then any bands that anyone I thought had my spirit, I would be drawn to them, whether famous or not. It was just the
Right.
way that they were. I was always of the mind that rock and roll was a place of transgression, rebellion, breaking taboos, breaking rules. And I thought
Yeah.
that applied for everyone, women and men. But I didn't know that it only applied to men. Men could be rock and roll, but women couldn't. And if they did, they would be vilified.
It's so interesting. They can write and talk and sing about our vaginas, but we can't talk about our own. It's so interesting. We're still dealing with that in the world. I think that's why I feel so blessed to be doing this podcast. One, because it's one of the few things that I don't think can be censored. They just can't get to me quick enough to tell me not to talk about the vagine in the way that I want to. But I say soul sister because it seems like you were guided through all your decision making through passion, the passion for music, the passion for these musicians. I joke that my lovely vagina made a lot of decisions for me, and maybe it wasn't the greatest way to curate a career, but it's a great way to curate a life, because I think we are the sum of all the mistakes and wrong turns and right turns that we make, and this led you to who you are today, and it led you to your next book, which is the book that has just come out. I believe it's just come out in October, and I just finished it. And it has to do with your first book, because the backlash that happened to you after writing this hit book in your native country, and even in your adopted country, is kind of fucking amazing.
Yeah, I didn't expect it at all. I think I was so naive because I thought that I'd see men like Russell Brand who were just glorified for writing books on how many women they shagged, but I couldn't get any jobs at all. I had obviously a lot of my family sort of disassociated themselves with me. Not my immediate family, but my sort of cousins and stuff. That like they would block me on social media, stuff they wouldn't see me. The rock and roll community, some were okay. Like I was sort of close to a
Some were
legend.
okay. They weren't into it. The rock and roll
Do you know
community?
who loved me? Lemmy. Lemmy was fucking amazing. He said to me, "Girl, if men can do that, why can't you? And you write about it, go for it." He was the only really genuine person I met who was like really down to earth and loved it. Lemmy.
Wow.
And I was close to a rock star, and I still am. And he was very much like he'd written a book himself, and he was like, "It's different." And he didn't want to. I just was really shocked because all these rock stars who in my head are fucking legendary for doing things. When it came to me, it was different rules. They would have friends like Tommy Lee or stuff who'd written books, and they'd be like, "Yeah, Tommy," and it was me. I was like, "No, you can't." And I was like,
It's so fucking crazy. It's so fucking crazy.
bizarre.
I mean, listen, I hope it's finally changing because so many women like you, like me, like Pamela DeBar, we're just fucking doing whatever the fuck we want to do. I don't give a shit. But I mean, I came up in a time a little older than you, but I came up doing movies in the 90s where, I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. Like you were just a submissive sort of sexual object and anything could happen to you. But if you took your power back when I made my show and I took my power back and I'm the boss, they really had an issue with it. It's a really unbalanced thing. I hope that it's changing. I mean, I would expect that coming from such a conservative place as Iran, that you would have pushback from there, but pushback from the whole rock and roll community, that's just so interesting. They're all about that.
I mean, not everyone in the rock community, but sometimes the things I would get from people who fucking loved Motley Crue, who loved Marilyn Manson, who loved, legends who've had sex with underage girls, they're the worst ones that were going, "Oh my God, it's disgusting. This is disgusting about sex." And I was like, yeah, but you literally worship fucking pedophiles. You literally worship men who've written such disgusting, including assault, like Marilyn Manson. And I'd be like, well, why am I different? And I thought, wait, is rock and roll an illusion? Is it not real? Because to me, rock and roll is a free spirit. I thought it was a free-spirited anything goes place, but I found that it wasn't. It was sexist and old-fashioned. It's really old-fashioned. It was like, yeah, men can do it, but you're inferior, so you can't. As a female, you're inferior. I was really shocked by that. But the worst thing was, not being able to get a job. I literally would go to with a great resume, great stuff, and they'd be like, "Sorry, we Googled you, and you've written some raunchy stuff, and you're Iranian." I was like, and they'd be like, "It's not good for our brand or for our image," and I'd be like, "Wow, this is like."
Oh my God. If like, I often wondered if I could, maybe marry a prince or be the wife of a president. And then I think, no, they're going to Google me. They're going to Google a couple of movies and they're going to go, no, that's just so shocking. It's so shocking. I mean, I know that your adopted country is, it's England, it's prim and proper, but it's also the fucking birthplace of all these fucking brilliant rock stars and debauchery where everything goes. But yeah, for the most part, it was for the boys. So I say hats off to you for just being unapologetic about it because listen, we all come from this fucking vessel and that's where we pull our power up from.
I mean, it's true. America was very nice to me. In America, when I did my publicity in America, it was fabulous. I loved it. As soon as I came to England, and it's not because of the sex, it's because I'm a Middle Eastern woman. Because America's a new country. Everyone's an immigrant. Everyone's from somewhere. British history and British class system is very deeply embedded in Britishness and English. So I'm always the other. I'm always a foreigner, however long I've been here. So they'll always view me as Iranian, as political, as controversial. Whereas if I was English and white and I did this, it wouldn't be as problematic.
Right. If you
Um,
weren't all of those things at the same time. You wrote something in your book. It was absolutely amazing. You said, I'm a foreigner in Iran and I'm a foreigner in England. And you
yeah,
felt like in some ways you belong nowhere, which is
I don't.
crazy.
I mean, Iran is where my childhood is and my real self, because it was cut off, so severed so quickly. Because one day I was playing with my friends and at school, the next day I was in a foreign country in the ghetto, not speaking the language, being hungry. It was such a shock to me. I think my body has kept some of that trauma. And so I immediately felt like I didn't belong anywhere because I didn't have my mum or my cousins or my friends as a child. And obviously, the first words I learned were racist words because I was racially bullied a lot. But rock and roll always felt to me like a home. When I'm at a show, side stage or backstage, which I always am,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel it's just my home. And to be honest, I've always felt a lot happier in America. For some reason, I feel a lot more belonging.
But here's the thing. Your first book and the experiences of your world in the rock and roll spotlight led you to write this book. Like, The Dead Iranian Girl is about going home,
Mm.
whatever home may mean. It's a quest also to find your real father on some level and
Mhm.
like true self. It's kind of amazing to me because the what you went through to go to this place called home, whatever
Yeah.
that is, whatever you think, what you put yourself at risk at. You've got to tell our listeners like what it took for you to go home, because not just because you left at the age of 10, most of this was because of this book that you wrote that was so controversial.
Yeah, so I felt after the aftermath of my first book, I felt I felt really lonely and I felt I couldn't get a job. I've got two MAs, I'm educated, I had to do manual work, cleaning stuff to survive. And that was a real heartbreak for me and it really killed me. And I love journalism. I love investigative writing. I love all that, but I couldn't do it officially. I could do it for my own blog, unpaid. And all this stuff really fucking bothered me. And I wanted to go back. I said, I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to lose. I've got no job here, no real friends, no real family. Um, and I thought I've got nothing to lose if I get killed. So I went and found smugglers in North London, where there's a big Turkish Kurdish community. And from them, I found contact names. And I didn't go straight to Turkey and go to Iran. I went first to different Middle Eastern countries. I wanted to go and meet different people and just, first of all, ease myself into it. So I went to Jordan and then Egypt. And then I met smugglers there. And then I went to Turkey. And in Turkey, I made the contacts. I paid them money. And then on the border, on the last day, I was on the border of to Iran. And then I just thought to myself, if anything happens, it doesn't matter, or whatever. I felt so crushed by the complete. I think it was also because my editors, Neil Strauss and Anthony Boza, they had really built the book up, the first book. They were like, you're going to get all this stuff out of it, but you have to call it The Last Living Slut. Neil
Yeah,
Strauss.
you were given that title. You were sort of
I
forced
was
into that
forced that
title.
title. I was forced that
You
title.
wanted sex, Iran, and rock and roll, which
Yeah,
I love that title as well.
yeah, yeah. And so Neil was very adamant on me having The Last Living Slut. Fine, whatever. I signed the contract, and then with HarperCollins. But that's it. They left me to it. So when it came out, I did publicity. I would do interviews that were really degrading with some radio hosts, and then I just didn't hear from them again. It was like literally, here you go, and do your stuff. Call the book that, and then that was it. It's just like nothing. I was left on my own.
You
So
were
there was no
left on your own.
aftercare. There was no
Left on your own.
aftercare as such. Yeah.
No.
I would get death threats. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have a literary agent. So I had nobody to sort of watch out. I'd get death threats. I'd get this and that, and I'd be like, "What do I do? I can't get a job. Where do I go? What do I do?" So that was devastating for me, which is why I made the decision. I thought, I know I'm on a list in Iran. I can't go there legally. They're not going to like me. They're going to take me to prison, possibly torture me. Even I'm a British citizen. In Iran, they don't recognize that. If you were born there, you're Iranian.
Yeah.
So I thought, fuck it, got nothing to lose. I don't care. And yeah, I just did it. And I think I'd done so much work on my own as a journalist. I went to meet the Ku Klux Klan. I did a sex trafficking, infiltrated a sex trafficking thing, etc. And I loved what I did, but I thought, you know what? I'm so done. I'm so done with like all this shit. And so I did it. And you know what? It was kind of a spiritual awakening in Middle East for me. It was kind of mystical. Egypt was, I mean, it was
Egypt's
different.
amazing. I've been to Egypt. I loved it. It was like you are being screwed by the most charming people in the world. Like while they're screwing you, they're so wonderful. And I loved the markets and the shooks and the food. I came from Turkey. I was on a trip to Turkey, which was right before the Arab Spring, so there was an energy in the air. And then we went to Egypt, and I had wanted to go my whole life, and I loved it. I loved it. It's crazy, but I loved it.
It is beautiful. Jordan is beautiful as well.
I haven't.
And
I'd love to go.
it is lovely. And then Turkey as well. But the most important thing for me was going to Iran illegally because I was on a horseback.
Yeah.
Different trucks, changing hands, smugglers. The terrain was rough, and I knew it would be like that. I thought it would be more difficult than it was because most people want to leave Iran and come here, so it's more dangerous. That I was doing it the other way around.
The other way around. Like all I have to worry about is like going back to Canada. It's just not the same amount of stress. It's just fucking amazing what you endured to get there. I mean, like most people wouldn't take that. They wouldn't take that chance. I mean, you're courageous as fuck, and the way you describe being back in your hometown, the smells, the scents, the food that you ate, and what was going on in modern day Iran, the whole underground fucking movement of what was still happening, that people are still finding their way to have this freedom in the it was just fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I'd been there in 2004, a long time ago, and I'd seen, people live double lives, obviously, because, there's just a law, and what goes on underground was a totally different thing. When you tell people not to do something, they'll do the opposite. So I've found extreme parties, I know, the extreme sex parties, etc., etc. But no, the most beautiful thing for me was being in my childhood neighborhood. And being around those people who were my childhood friends who'd grown up and some family. I wasn't even any more scared of being found out. I thought, you know what, whatever happens, at least I'm here.
Did you have to leave? Did you have to leave the same way you came? Did you have to sneak back out, or could you leave legally?
Because I was given a fake passport, right? Okay. I used that to get back to Turkey, and from Turkey I used my British passport.
You're fucking like a badass spy. Mara Hari, who the fuck does this in modern day? Who does this? It's.
Do you know how I do it? It's because I think since I was a kid being sent here, my immediate coping mechanism has been to disassociate. So I'm very good at, like, if I was to go to a war zone, I wouldn't feel anything. But if I was dealing with a fucking spider, I would freak out. So little things would freak me out, but big major things, I disassociate. I'm good at that. So yes, I would be good in a war zone, but I wouldn't be good at like little things. I'd love to go back legally. I don't think they will let me back in now, but I really would love to go and just enjoy like the Persian New Year, which is in March, and walk the streets freely. I would love that. It's like my fantasy.
I want to go back to one thing that you said about this sort of underground world, these like sex parties and things that are happening in the underground belly of Iran. Is it all fucking punishable by death if they're found out?
It depends how much bribery money you have. Because rich people get away with everything. They live like the best of the best. They have in mansions with butlers and the best latest cars and the best designer gear. the amount
Really?
of alcohol and drugs, but they have the money to be left alone because they can easily bribe them or they're part of the fucking regime. They're part of the kids and grandkids of the mullahs. You know, they go to Dubai, they go and do everything, gamble, whatever. And so it's very, very corrupt. But if you're a regular Joe and you don't have that kind of money, yes, if you do have sex outside of marriage, it's punishable, I think, by 99 lashes, flogging.
Fucking hell.
And
It's crazy.
yeah, alcohol drinking is punishable. But you know what? People do it and they kind of don't give a fuck. And they know that they're going to get caught and something will happen. They're so used to it now. They're so used to this.
It's like a country of fucking punk rock stars that are just fucking doing it. It's kind of amazing. I guess that's the kind of resistance that you build up. Do you see Iran changing? Well, you know, I'm in Los Angeles right now. It's the largest Persian population outside of Iran, right? And I've been able to, you know, I've gone to Iranian parties and
Oh,
Iranian
wow.
seders and the
Wow.
food. I mean, it's like you guys are eating flowers. It's the most fucking beautiful food in the world, most beautiful people in the world. They've come here and like they own half of LA. They've done so well. But like, this is a strong stock of people you come to that they're just, you know, we don't picture that. We picture that everybody's walking around in a fucking thing and not, you know, playing with goats. And that's not the
No,
case.
we're not an Arab country, number one. Our religion
Okay,
is Zoroastrian, and then Islam came to our country later on. So
right.
we have different religions, Baha'i, we have Jews, we have Christians. So the land is very diverse. It's a very ancient civilization, you know.
Yeah,
Women were having makeup and jewelry before England was a thing. If you go to
right.
the British Museum, thousands and thousands, because they've stolen everything, the British, from countries. Um, and yeah, so you see the Persian section is phenomenal for thousands of years ago. So the Greeks and the Persians, you know, all the things that they did, invented things, you know. And so no, it's very diverse. So you've got a lot of snow in the north, a lot of skiing, beautiful mountains, beautiful. The ancient civilizations, you know, the Persepolis is
Yeah.
beautiful. And then you have lovely beaches, you have lovely mountains and landscapes, and the culture is so rich. It's so rich, you just can't imagine how rich this is, you know.
As I was telling you, my producer Jacques, who's African American from Brooklyn, went to the American school for high school in Tehran because his dad was an engineer, and they were bringing in all these American engineers to work for the telephone company, for Bell, and for all the infrastructure. And he learned some Farsi, and his parents learned Farsi. They loved it. They
Yeah,
said it was such a magical, this is 79, right? 78, 79, right before everything went down. They said it was such a magical, special, gorgeous place. And
very
liberal.
much.
I mean, we've all seen these pictures from Tehran in the 70s, and it's the fucking
Yeah.
sexiest place. I'm happy to hear it's still sort of, there's a resistance and that it still exists on some level, albeit hidden.
So yeah, the Women Life Freedom movement a couple of years ago was unfortunate. A lot of people were killed, activists. So it started with a woman not adhering to the codes of hijab
Yeah,
and
yeah.
being killed in morality police custody. But now I think women can walk around without the hijab. We're free. They do it, and they do it as an act of resistance. They don't give a fuck. These women, by the way, they're so badass. These women, they do everything. They are so educated, some athletes, you know, mathematicians, lawyers, actors. There's so much condensed
Don't you think
talent.
we're on the cusp of change? This can't last forever. There's just too many people that are fighting it.
I mean, I think if it was beneficial for the West would make it happen because the West has more power. They can prop up regimes, they can dismantle them. And I think Iran has a lot of support from Russia, from Putin, and from
Right.
China. So I think it's a bit problematic. And also, who would replace them? There's no one waiting. There's the Shah's son. He's not a leader, he's just a prince. He can't govern, doesn't know how to govern a place.
I don't know, maybe Harry Styles. He can do anything. I don't know.
A
No, it would be,
democracy,
yeah.
democracy would be a start, a democracy where people can vote and elect.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would be great if people had a choice, because women's bodies is owned by the state. It's like Handmaid's Tale. So,
Wait a minute.
abortion, marriage.
Women's women's bodies are owned by the state. That's a fucking
So,
fact.
so any decision you make is illegal. It's legal. It's bound by law. So, for example, abortion is illegal, which in some parts of America is.
Hello, they're trying to do all that here.
Yeah, I
crazy.
know. When a parent dies, the inheritance, women get half. The female children get half, and the men get the full inheritance. Women get less money. In a court of law, a woman's evidence is half the man's. The age of marriage is quite young. It used to be at the beginning of revolution, Khomeini lowered it to 9 years old to get married. But now, that doesn't happen except in some villages.
God.
But it's still can be quite young. So many other things, obviously having the choice of what to do with your body, in terms of divorce, for women to want a divorce, it's exceptionally hard. It's lots of things are also very grey area. No, it's so, there's nothing set. It's such a fucking clusterfuck.
It's a fucking clusterfuck. Why is the world going in this direction? We should be so fucking far advanced on the other side. Part of your journey back, it wasn't your main reason, but it was part of your journey, because I have a personal journey too of finding my real father. My real father is dead, so I got to dig him up. Your real father is in Iran, and you got to see him, and you had not seen him in how long?
God, I went for a visit in 2004, but it was brief. But then,
Right.
Unfortunately, this time he passed away.
Yes.
Because he was always addicted to drugs, opiates. But I always felt my father was very similar to me, old school hippie. Loved that whole 70s scene. I always remember him in these big flares and smoking up and listening to sort of Pink Floyd and stuff. And so I was going to get it from someone, because my mom wasn't really like that.
You get it from somewhere. Today, ironically, my father, who raised me, who was a Czechoslovak, had me very late in life. Today would be his fucking 113th birthday.
Oh my God, happy heavenly birthday.
Happy heavenly. And I think he's 1 year older than Sinatra. So it's all sort of coming together, and I feel like this whole season, because I feel like the first season of Lies My Vagina Told Me is just the celebration of all the fucking choices we made, good, bad, and ugly, that we thought were fucked up, that really just made us the badasses we are today. But I think this is an exploration, is why I love your book so much, of who we fucking really are,
Yeah,
Uncensored,
absolutely.
unbridled, not giving a flying fuck. I'm in my not giving a flying fuck era. I'm a few years older than you, but you got there first. You got there first. You just were like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna make this happen, and I'm gonna take life on. Also, your investigative reporting. We should talk about this. Well, fuck, who didn't want to be Christine Anamanpour? I wanted to be a journalist too, but and a spy. I really wanted to legally be able to kill men. Yeah, I want to fucking kill men, but I never was. I write shows about spies, premenopausal spies, but the risks you took in your journalistic life, interviewing members of the Ku Klux Klan. I believe you interviewed Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Right. Like, had I met him in a club, I would have thought he was cute. So I don't have good choices. What the fuck was he like? Was he charming? Was he just nuts?
I didn't meet him face to face. We would correspond by writing, and he would send me lots of stuff, including pictures of me dead or dismembered. Which was nice. I guess I don't know.
He took the time.
Yeah, he'd make me like birthday or Christmas things, like drawings, which were, I remember one of them was, I was wearing, in the picture, I'm wearing this sort of black belt-like thing with black boots, but my arm is sort of separate from my body, and this arm is separate, and I think I've got a gash to my neck.
Oh, wow.
So,
So he's
yeah,
doing great. He's getting better. He's doing really good.
thank
I
me so
mean,
much, but I've still got it here. I didn't touch them. I feel like it's got bad energy. I'm like,
yeah.
let me just put
I
them
mean,
over there.
was there any insight or he's just fucking nuts?
Well, nuts is an interesting word. I think in his letters to me, he was very childlike, almost like a teenager. So it would be like, hey, I'd love to go to the movies. I'd love to go ice skating. I'd love to go and buy this music. It was almost like a kid in the 80s, how kids in the 80s talk, like a child, almost like a teenager. And he would ask me lots of questions. Have you ever done this? Have you ever done this? Have you ever done this? And then once he asked me to send photos of myself as a child to him, and I was like,
Oh,
no, that ain't gonna
no.
happen, honey.
Is
No,
he,
no, no.
when was this? Is he still alive?
Just before he died,
It's right before he died.
2013, he died in prison in San Quentin of, I think it was hepatitis C, because he was still doing drugs. But
In prison.
I would get the letters sent to my mum's address, and she'd be like, is this man again? Why are you getting him to send it to my address? I was like, Mom, I don't want him to know my address. She was
Oh,
like,
so
why?
my mom. Oh my, your poor mama. Fuck. That's so. I could like listen. I joke that I get a lot of fan mail, mostly from prison, and they are a big fan base of mine. And I get letters from them quite often. And I recently got 10 fucking calls in a row from a prisoner, and I didn't accept it. And my boyfriend called the prison to say, like, this is happening. We don't know how. She's a public figure. I don't know how she got her number. What's the deal with this person? And he was a sex offender. And because I thought, well, Jesus, maybe somebody wants me to write his story. Maybe I shouldn't not be talking to him. I was kind of curious. But then when it came out that he was like a child sex offender, I was like, that's above my pay grade.
That is, yeah.
And then the Ku Klux Klan, like, what? You actually went in person
Yeah.
to me. I mean, they don't like you.
I didn't
You're
plan
not,
to.
you're,
I
you're
never
not.
plan anything, and it happens.
I get it.
Well, I kind of pursued it. I was going to meet up with this rock legend,
Yeah.
and he was playing in the southern states somewhere. And I was like, what can I do when I'm in those southern states? Is there anything I could report on? And then I was thinking they've got quite a lot of white supremacist groups in the southern states. So there was a girl on my Facebook, and she lived in that state. So I was like, this is a strange question. Do you happen to know anybody who was in a group that she was like, my brother knows someone? So when I got to go and see my rock legend, I saw him and I met the Ku Klux Klan. So
All in a
fucking
day's
weird.
work. Rock legend, Ku Klux Klan. Did you get any fucking insight? Like, what the fuck? What can you even interview them about? Like, where is there a meeting of the minds?
So I just went along. I never questioned them. I never challenged them on anything. I was like, I'm just going to let them talk, and I'm going to let them show me things. And it was just icky for me and horrible, but I couldn't, as a woman alone, go and do anything challenging. I would just write down what they said to me.
So they just thought you were a journalist from England coming
Yeah.
to understand their world, and you went by yourself? You had no chaperone, nobody there with you?
No.
Fucking badass,
I
brave,
was quite
crazy.
scared. When I was in that town, I remember I was texting the rock legend, and I was like, okay, and he was like, what are you going to wear? And I said, I don't know, I'm going to wear jeans and a top. And then I went, and then I was he was the only one I was telling, like, where I am, what I'm doing. It was quite bizarre that this fucking rock legend was the only one who knew I was with the Ku Klux Klan. I was like, okay, this is my life.
It's just so courageous, man. Like, I can't even think of anything that I do that, like, maybe I go out with my roots showing. Like, that's as courageous as I'm gonna get on a fucking Thursday. I mean, I'm not doing that shit. One, I'm a Jew and I'm afraid of everything. Two, I'm just like, I don't want to die. I love breathing. I hate violence. I hate. So like, I don't think I would put myself in that position. And I want to tell you, I did have a New Year's Eve in New York where I was going to be with the rock god that I was in love with at the time, because it's not that I didn't have crushes on all of them.
Does he have a
Steven
name?
Tyler. Yes, I was in love with Eddie Vedder. I was in love with Eddie Vedder, and I spent New Year's 1990 or 91 or whatever the fuck they were happening, and they were playing a small club in New York, and Keith Richards was the headliner, and they were playing before Keith Richards, and we had this connection. I was a little starlet movie star then, so they knew me and I knew them, and everything, like, he just kind of left his wife, and I was like, that's my next boyfriend. And then my fabulous producer, Dr. Princess Leia, who produces this show with me, she decided to do some fucking mushrooms in the East Village on New Year's Eve and was having a bad trip. And I had to go leave my, future love of Eddie Vedder and go save my friend. And I tell her, like, I'm not Mrs. Eddie Vedder because of your fucking bad mushroom trip.
Wow.
So, or she may have saved me. She may have saved me from a bad rock and roll divorce, but it was never meant to be. That's as close as I got. But who didn't want to date a rock star? And you, I know we're keeping this person anonymous, but you've had a 15, 20-year relationship with this person.
So yeah, I've known him. I didn't hear from him, talk to him between 2007 and 2010, and then 2010. As things started, he's very shy. Yeah, he's quite shy. And he's very sweet. He's very kind, and he's very sensual.
Are you going to be coming to the United States on a book tour with the dead Iranian girl?
I would really love that. It's a Persian New Year. There's a lots of Persians in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I would really
I want to go to a Persian New Year. What's that like?
Wild.
Wild.
So there's lots of amazing food, dancing, crazy. Like, it's just like goes on all night, like for a few days. So many things going on in LA. Persian New Year's, like, fucking wild.
Oh my God, come! I want to go with you. I don't know if you go how the Persian calendar goes. Like, the Chinese calendar is we're going into the year of the horse, and we're supposed to have shed everything in the year of the snake.
Yes, I love the year of the horse.
We're going forward like fucking stallions this year, so I don't know what the Persians, what their thing, but I hope it's a fucking blessed year for all of us. I hope we're all celebrating our fucking vagina, the good, the bad, the ugly, the mistakes, and all the fucking power and all the rebirths that come from it. I'm fucking ready. But yeah, well, let's set something up for this. This book is so fucking brilliant. I don't finish books. I have a weird fucking brain. I don't like endings. I don't finish books, and I couldn't fucking put this book down. It's so beautifully written. Like, it is my dream. I say this podcast is my memoir, my funny memoir in podcast form, because I'm just trying out my stories. But the truth of the matter is, I'm a comedy writer. The descriptions that you give, like, I can smell everything you're smelling. I can taste everything you're tasting. I can fear everything that's crazy out there. And it's because your writing is so fucking beautiful. And the world should know you. I know they already do, but anyone who doesn't should know who you are, because you're a fucking force.
So kind. Thank you so much.
But you earned it. And your life, I mean, that's what I'm listen. You followed that Vagina of yours too. She made a lot of decisions for you, and some of them, when you read about it, you're like, what, lady, what are you thinking? But they made you this fierce warrior woman, this just like super fucking hero.
Did you like the funny part in my book when I am with the rock star, I think it's Madrid, and I'm like, my vagina's saying, no, this is a rock star, you'll fall in love, don't hold back.
Well, the vagina, as we're learning, she has a mind of her own, and she's fucking powerful, and she's persuasive, and when she's hungry, motherfucker, get out of the way. And I think that's why society's been trying to suppress it for years, but women are rising. Everybody is rising. We all fucking recognize that power is something to be harnessed, and that the bad choices or mistakes or perceived mistakes, they weren't really. You don't have any fucking regrets. Everything brought you to who you are, to write these 2 books and write whatever you're going to go on and do. You told me that you are in rehearsal right now. You're also a fucking brilliant actress. I've seen stuff on YouTube.
I'm doing a play. I'm doing a play in Bath. end of January. It's Bath. I love Bath. The city of Bath is
I
beautiful.
want to come to Bath. Maybe I'll come to your play and then you'll come here for New Year's. I want to go to Bath so badly. What is next for you? Will you write another book? Will you go back to journalism? Will you concentrate on your acting career?
So
Will you marry your rock star?
I would never marry a rock star.
You're the fucking rock star lady, not them. You're the rock star.
Oh, you are so amazing. It's such an honor to meet you and just listen to you because you're so interesting. You're doing an amazing thing with this.
I want to thank you for sliding into my DMs.
Yay.
This amazing fucking author and powerhouse found me, and I'm so honored that you're listening to my show in the UK because she's brand new. She's a brand new Vagine, and well, she's not that new, but she's rebirthing. And I thank you so much for reaching out to me and trusting me with your books.
I have a gut feeling your podcast is going to be big because I can just feel it as it's developing, being massive.
You're obviously a fucking pro and eloquent and amazing, and it's just like, let this woman go and tell us about her life.
You're so nice. I think I want to marry you.
Well, I think we might. All right. Thank you so much.
Lots of love. Bye. Love.
Lies My Vagina Told Me is hosted by moi, Brigitte Bako, produced by Jacques Telemaque and Leah Sherman, artwork by Leah Sherman, theme and original music by Jack Moore for balladguitar.com. See you next time on Lies My Vagina Told Me.